What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neg Entropy Chronicles. So we got an episode by We Need to Talk. I'm telling you, if anything, go check them out, man. They got a bomb page. I'm not fronting. I really enjoy what I've been watching. This one is about black masculinity. So he's having a conversation with this lady, and we're like kind of halfway in. So I just want you to see this particular part, and then I'm gonna leave the full link down in the description so y'all can go mess with them. Yeah, but let me get my perspective on it, but let's check out the video, all right?
I think what makes a bunch of black men upset at situations like Eve is because a lot of men initially, high school, college, were overlooked because they were the nice, meek, more submissive or nerdy guy.
And also add in passive.
Right? Mm-hmm. And later on, that same girl complains about how black men ain't shit. And then goes after a white man who is the same exact thing as what she shitted on in high school. Because just like you said, he gets a wider spectrum to be a person, and you are a man just by default.
Now this is about divesting, so they're talking about in white society. So now granted, that's not across the board, you know, majority of black women want to be with black men, but in the context, even in this situation, when you're younger, they don't want to mess with the more softer, passive, nice guy, but when they get older in life, then that's the person that they want, regardless of the race. Black women will be like, now I want this guy because it didn't work out with this said particular individual who represented the hood versions, the negative connotations or the negative stereotypes of the community. But now I want the nice guy who wanted me back then, but I didn't want him because he wasn't exciting. Now give me that guy later on. But in this particular case, they're talking about divesting.
So the question is, just how black men, I know as a black man, I have to be sensitive to the fact that white supremacy has tried to tell you that you're not beautiful. Should black women be sensitive to the fact that white supremacy has tried to tell black men that they're not men?
I think that's kind of twofold, because I don't think it's white supremacy that's telling black men about black men. I think it's more based on the women in the community, because say you come from a single family household, you have your mother telling you what a man is or what a man is supposed to be, how he's supposed to function, said and set forth. Or you have younger girls that are telling you, well, this is how a man is, or I won't find you attractive unless you act like a man in this regard. So I don't even think it's white supremacy that has anything to do with that anymore. That's more just within the community itself.
Yeah, I think they should.
And why aren't they?
That's what I was trying to elaborate, but I was trying to really see or think deeply about that. I definitely think they should. I think the problem is, by the time women start dating these black men and trying to really have a serious relationship, they're on a time crunch and they're no longer interested in breaking down your barriers as much or for a longer period of time, this extended period of time. So it's like,
are women selfish? Because unfortunately, I mean, the thing you're going to hear a lot is a lot of these ain't shit dudes that we're complaining about were either created by toxic mothers or incentivized by toxic girls in high school.
Well, there you have it.
yeah.
And then later on, because I'm on a time crunch, you know, forget what you got going on. Forget the fact that your girlfriend in high school cheated on you with the captain of the football team because you were too nerdy. I'm just, you know what I mean? Forget all that stuff. But I have to be sensitive about what you have going on. And if you're not ready, I'm just going to a white boy who's always been the thing that I didn't even want you to be in high school.
man, he really does kind of present some really good topics. Now, the thing is, though, if you were growing up in a situation where you were cheated on because you were too nerdy, this is why it's important for young black men to have black fathers in their lives. Because, yeah, you might be nerdy, but your father's going to explain to you, hey, man, don't worry about that. Trust me, she'll be looking for you in the future, and don't even give her the time of day. Or stay who you are, because who you are is worth something. Don't try to be something you're not just to impress people who don't really care about you, and they're gonna change their mind eventually anyways. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality of it. Don't chase after a chaotic mind. Stay focused on what you're trying to do. Focus on your path, because the moment that happens to you, your diversion becomes the problem. You divert from the actual plan and then submerge yourself in the chaos of something that really just ain't you. So,
Yeah.
It sounds like men get zero sympathy, right?
It does. It does. But I think it's harder to give them sympathy because they make it seem like they don't necessarily want it.
Because we can't. There's a good analogy.
See, this is the problem. They don't want it. That's not true. They're just trained not to. And it doesn't matter who's teaching, a man or a female. They teach those young boys, hey, man, you got to stay tough because people are going to run over you. And you've seen it numerous times in media where women will be like, I don't want an over-emotional guy. Because if he shows me that, I'm going to run all over him. So he has to stay steadfast, strong, and protected because he can't show vulnerability because it gets taken advantage of. So let's get back to it. I think he's a psychologist. His name is Dr. Warren Farrell. And he talks about the buck, the animal, the buck with the horns. And he said one of the things that's interesting about the buck that translates to the human species is the female bucks select male bucks based on the size of their horns, right? And how elaborate and big that they are, right? And the bigger and more elaborate your horns are, the easier it is for the females to select you, right? So females are incentivizing bigger and more aggressive horns. As a consequence, the bigger and more aggressive your horns are, the more likely you are to have arthritis. Wow.
And a lot of bucks have problems and even die from that. So
wow.
The dilemma is the more attractive you are to the female of a species, the more dangerous you are to yourself. And that is the masculine dilemma.
Can you give me an example in like the human form?
I was actually talking to Danny and David. They're in high school, right? And they were talking about how, when they try to talk to them, then they go to a white school, predominantly white school. And they said they made a concerted effort to talk to the black girls. And what they found was the black girls wanted them to be gangster. The black girls wanted them to be rough around the edges and all that good stuff, the Tupac archetype, right? Whereas the white girls, because they're big black dudes, they already thought they were rough, so you can just be yourself. But the black girls imposed, and these are girls, imposed on them pseudo-masculine expectations.
Wow.
That then later on they're going to complain about.
But do you think it was just the black girls?
That's what they said, yeah.
So, I'm going to leave it there. There's way more time left on that particular video before and after. I just picked a portion out of it. But I've had this conversation with people before. I'm like, you look at these famous black actors or whatever that are married to white women, and people are like, man, why they married to them? Well, they liked them when they were just who they were. They weren't putting up an image. They weren't trying to be something they weren't. They were just able to be. Where in this case, like he said, there were dudes who were being pushed to be something more violent with an end date on it, versus just allowing them to be who they were, and they found it appealing. I've had this conversation numerous times with different women about the context of like, why do they go for the bad guy? Why do they go for this? And Jordan Peterson actually talks about it, where he says it's the Beauty and the Beast mentality. Now, if you want to hear about the Beauty and the Beast mentality, let me know down in the comment section. I will actually make a video regarding that, and we can have a deeper conversation about that. But let me know what you think down in the comment sections. Be on the lookout for more videos. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.